Hello, my name's Randy Riedinger. I'm an equine dentist from Weatherford, Texas. Today, we want to talk about people always, one of the most asked questions is, when should I start doing my horse's teeth and how often should they be done? Horses, generally, we don't do anything to them until they're around 2 or coming 2, when most trainers start to, before they start riding them. We go through, take out wolf teeth, balance the mouth, remove sharp points, put bit seats on, that kind of thing. Horses in the wild graze 16, 18 hours a day. So they wear their teeth normal, naturally. They keep their mouth more in balance than a horse in a stable environment. Once we take that horse out of their environment, bring them into our world for our enjoyment, our pleasure, then we dictate to them, you have to live here, you have to eat this. That changes everything about their structure of their mouth and how it functions. And so horses that are 2.5 to 5 years of age shed 24 teeth in that time period. And that's about the time where we start training them. We're developing their minds, their body, their condition, their feeding. Equine dentistry's 2 reasons to do it is for health and rideability. And that's what we try to do to help the horse long term with his training. There's a lot of times in the racehorse industry, those horses are being ran at 2 years of age, 3 years of age. You're cutting, reining people, show those horses at around 3.5 years of age in the futurities. That seems to be the biggest aspect of horses that are being used for performance. So in that time frame, there's a lot of things that go on in a horse's mouth. This is a 6-month-old, almost an 8-month-old young horse. You can see there's only 3 premolars here, and this is the fourth molar permanent to start erupting into the mouth. They shed all 3 of these, starting at 2.5 on this one, 3 on this one, 3.5 on this one, okay? As the horse ages, they're basically born, they don't have any teeth in their mouth if they go to the normal term. As the horse ages, 6 to 8 days, it gets the 2 middle incisors and these 3 teeth. Then 6 to 8 months, it gets the next set of incisors, and then 6 to 8 weeks, they'll be in wear, and then 6 to 8 weeks, and these come in and then in wear at 1 year. Then the 4th molar comes in around 1 year of age, and it'll be in wear by 2. And then the 5th molar comes in at 2, it'll be in wear by 3, which means they're meeting. And the final molar, they don't even get till around 4 years of age, and it won't be touching till 5. So you have all these things going on in a horse's mouth at that time period. So when we talk about if they shed that many teeth, then starting at 2, you should at least every 6 months check in, look in your horse's mouth. Because at 2.5, you'll have a set of caps, like I said. Then at 3, another set of caps. So once the cap comes off, new tooth comes in, it'll be sharp. Then the next set 6 months later. The next set 6 months later. A lot of people are under the assumption that my horse is young, it doesn't need his teeth worked on. These babies, even at 1 year of age, 2, their teeth are extremely sharp. So then when we put a bit or a bridle on, we go to pulling around on them, the bit takes the soft tissue into those sharp edges of the teeth, plus the mouth gets out of balance. Once a cap becomes loose, it's real sensitive prior to coming off. So they develop in stages. This is a deciduous tooth at this point in time. As this horse ages at 2.5, the permanent tooth is developing. It's coming in, this tooth wears away, and they erupt into the mouth, okay? So by 2.5 years of age, this tooth, which does have a bigger root system, ends up looking like this. This is a cap. This is a remnant. A cap is called a remnant of a deciduous tooth. So If you don't help, and people say, well, they'll fall off on their own, but in the wild, if they graze a lot, they wear their teeth, so that process goes quicker and easier. Stable environment, and we're training and riding these horses. Once that tooth comes in, starts coming in, and that deciduous tooth wears away and it becomes a cap, the roots wiggle around in the gums. It takes 30 to 45 days for that cap to fall off by itself. In that time frame, you might be training or riding this horse, and it doesn't fall off, and every time you pull in the bit, it bumps it, and then they get sore and they get mad, they fight, they want to rear up, they quit turning one direction or another. Then we get, other bits, bigger bits, or tie their head around and fight with them until maybe the cap falls off, and all of a sudden we think, hey, I got that horse trained, I fixed him, he's turning to the left now. He didn't before, but he is now. So that's real important on these young horses to do that. And every 6 months is important to check in there, because you don't know if a stick gets stuck in between their teeth, a tooth gets cracked, broken, they hit their head. If you float and balance a horse's mouth, within 6 months, that horse starts to get sharp again, okay? I don't care who's doing it, within 6 months, they're gonna be sharp. So at that point, you need to at least get the points off. Make sure you don't have any waves, ramps, protuberances, that kind of thing, especially in a performance horse. From 5 years and up, after the teeth are all in and all in wear, that mouth should be balanced, and they never know any pain or fear if you do it at least every 6 months. Really, to be honest with you, about every 90 days, they should be looked at on a baby from 4 and under, just to make sure everything's coming in correct, one tooth's not getting ahead of another, no loose caps, that kind of thing. From 5 and up, every 6 months, keep them balanced, keep them in shape. You're spending a lot of money training, feed, fuel, entry fees. Keep that mouth balanced. It takes very little work to do it every 6 months versus waiting a year or 18 months and letting the mouth get out of balance again. Then you create more issues, problems, more stress for the horse, that kind of thing. The older the horse gets, the tooth eruption slows down. And the more times he's been balanced from a younger age, then maybe you can go 8 months or 9 months. But you're better off to do it every 6, so there's minimal work. Horses that are, after they're 5 years old and up, still should be done every 6 months. As the horse ages, the tooth slows down in eruption, and if it's been balanced for a long period of time, it will hold longer. The older the horse gets, the slower the eruption is of the teeth. So you get a horse that's 15, 16 years old and not being ridden, you can keep that horse's mouth in pretty good shape once a year. Performance-wise, it's probably not going to work as well. But so the older the horse gets, the less work you may have to do, unless there's a bad situation where you have a tooth that's missing, something like that. So bottom line is, at least check them every 6 months. Whether they may need something or not, that's a good rule of thumb. And so many people are taught over the years, well, all we got to do once a year is get our teeth done, our flu shots and worming. You should check their teeth a little more often than once a year. So anyway, in my opinion, every 6 months would be a good time to do them, and starting at 2 years of age, that's when you'd want to start them, at least by then.